If you guys only knew the nonsense that goes on with the pre-show, and for that matter, really the post-show, am I right?
Both of them, honestly, DK. We should bottle that content up, but the show would never end, man. It would never end.
Oh, it might end.
It would.
It might end. All right.
It would, DK. Man, I got in here early, man. By the way, this is probably as close as we've ever gotten to like 3:07. Somebody came here early. It was like 3:07. I was like, yeah, right. We won't be no 3:07. We came on, just for clarity, at 3:06. Well, 4:06 Eastern. Now, how about that?
How about that? This is not beer, by the way. It's iced tea.
I was hoping it was beer, DK. Come on, dude.
That would have been pretty funny,
Come on, man.
Lori Coleman gets Baltimore week off to a great finish here on the Ramon show. What you got there that you found there, Ramon?
I saw Lori Coleman coming here earlier. It's like I never heard raisins before coming here. And a lot of people have been saying it all this week. I see James B. almost raisins day. Game day is tomorrow. There's another few folks that said, give me your score predictions on the raisins. And a lot of people are probably listening to this pod right now and going, what the hell is a raisins, Ramon? Well, DK, bring her to the stage, man. So
I don't have to bring her anywhere. She's always there.
Raisins week. We're excited about it.
And we're excited about it.
And we're excited about it. Dolly, you got it because DK brought it up to me and you told the story. You got to tell where the raisins come from on Ravens week.
Just a really quick version. First game I ever saw. Penguins versus Ravens, 1996. Penguins. Okay, Ravens. Steelers.
We're off to a great start.
Well, actually, I probably didn't know the difference at that point. I didn't even know what football was, but it's the very first thing that I saw when I stepped foot in Pittsburgh. And I go to the game, and
Three River Stadium,
and everybody's cheering, and they're all saying, raisins, and they were purple. And nobody corrected me. And I figured, okay, all these names are kind of weird. They all mean something. So it's probably what it was. And my family is that ridiculous. They just let me call them raisins for decades without correcting me, not even in front of people. And I really didn't know until probably, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago that that's not what they're called. So maybe a little bit earlier, but either way. I think it's a way, way better name for them anyway.
It is. And now that you've broken it down even more, Dolly, I actually feel better about you calling them the raisins because last time you told you didn't really tell me like, well, the purple like raisins. And that honestly makes all the sense in the world.
Okay, well, I do also need to add that I didn't speak any English, so I really couldn't tell the difference between the words.
Ravens and raisins. That and it has stuck in this show for so long. Every week now is going to be raisins.
I never felt more important than when Dan brought it up to me about 3 days ago. There was some meme on Twitter where they were called the raisins. And I'm like, wait, did I make that happen? Did I bring it to Twitter? I am somebody, people. I am somebody. I named the Ravens.
Somebody put real Baltimore helmets on raisins.
That is amazing. I honestly, no joke, I never felt more important. Like now I'm somebody. I've arrived, guys.
You are somebody. Way to let us know, Dolly. I see beers coming in. Cheers to you, Dolly, for that
week. We're excited about it.
One more sleep before the Raisins game.
All right, let's get on with the show before everybody leaves.
Oh, boss says to ring the bell. I see how this goes around here.
Now we gotta go. She gotta go. And we gotta hit the bell. Let me know when you're ready, DK. We ready?
No, that'd be right now. This is a ridiculous show.
It is a ridiculous show.
That's how I feel.
It is, but we got this is not a one of those type of days, but we got such an amazing base though, DK, that they make it even better for us. I told you, I thoroughly enjoy doing this show, and I know you do too. But it's also, I'll say this before we get going even further. I saw a clip, and I'm going to go there just to let you know how unique Pittsburgh is and how cool it is too, man, for me. And being a part of the Steelers, but primarily for me, the Steelers, is this. I saw a clip, I'm sure you guys saw it too, of Cam Newton. Cam Newton does this podcast, and he was explaining he caught on to a Mike Tomlin speech one time from Jericho Cotchery. I think Jericho Cotchery went back to Carolina as a coach or player development. Yes, as a coach of player development after he finished his time in Pittsburgh. And he was telling this story about Cam said he was sitting down somewhere and Jericho came up to him. And he said something of the nature, man, I'd rather say whoa than sicker. And said, and as good as Cam Newton is or was in his time, can't deny that, he never heard I'd rather say whoa than sicker.
Okay.
And Cam's reaction to Jericho telling him that, and he explained it, when Jericho Cotchery talk to you, he don't talk loud. You spoke to J. Cole before. Mm-hmm. He don't talk loud, but when he talk, you listen. And said, Jericho,
smart guy,
very smart dude. Said he walked up to him and said, Cam, I'd rather say whoa than sicker. And Cam breaking this down in his mind to his podcast, be like, that's interesting when it comes down to the game. Like, I can always tell a dog that's bark. I can always tell, hey, whoa, easy. Because I can control, right, aggression. I can control anger. I can control your heart, right, if I can bring it back. I can't make you go be a dog. As I see, a lot of people put the dogs in the bottom right there. And just all in all, I thought that was appropriate to start this off this week. Come on, DAWGS, DK. Dog, come on, man. But that being like we're gonna need some dogs in in Baltimore this weekend to really get it done, man. And I just thought that was a great one tip of the hat from Cam to Coach Tomlin. But the fact that the stuff that we get inside that building sometimes, I think is universal. And I'm skewed because I've only been in one place. To hear this type of stuff as DK get X'd off and not knowing how to spell dogs correctly, or his computer won't let him. But I again, say what you want to about Coach Tomlin and all his stuff. But that resonates to a lot of the players inside of the locker room, and hearing that come from a guy like Cam, I thought was pretty unique, man. Going from also Jericho, who had a real good role in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, anytime it comes from the outside, you know that it's coming real. You know, because it's not somebody who has any stake in this. You know.
Yeah, no, absolutely not, man. But this weekend's gonna be unique. I'm looking forward to it, man. We get an opportunity to get our Saturday out the way. Hopefully, the Steelers win this weekend. There you go. When you put do that again. You like a B-boy then. Yeah, no, you got to grab the chin again. Like, yeah.
This?
Yeah, you got to do that. But that's some cool stuff, man. I'm looking forward to see if Mason can give us a three-peat. I know that's the biggest conversation I've already.
We're doing this the whole show now?
Yeah. Oh, okay. I was going to leave the glasses up.
What happens here when I do this? Oh, look, it gets rid of it.
No. Wait, actually, what happens? Oh, look at this.
Oh, there you
go. The self-representation in the middle right there.
All right.
But that's some super cool stuff this weekend, man. Win, lose, or draw, man. I think everybody goes into next year. I don't know, DK. How do you feel? Going up, the same, or still a whole lot of question marks? Because there are some stuff that's got to happen. I honestly ain't read through it enough, DK, and didn't really care. Because all I care about is the Steelers winning. This playoff stuff, that's who has to win, who has to lose, all that type of stuff. If we win, I feel better about whatever happens anyway.
You know, I'm going to be the weirdo on this one because I don't much care if they make the playoffs or not. I don't think that's a real – okay. This organization has a lot of things that it needs to address. It has a lot of things that were exposed along the way. It has – many, many, many questions that it needs to be asking itself. If the Steelers make the playoffs, wonderful. And you had yourself a nice 3-4 weeks, whatever it was at the end. You finished off and you had some nice early outcomes and fourth quarter comebacks. Great. Good for you. Way to go. Doesn't mean nearly as much to me as if, for example, let's say Mason Rudolph has another great game tomorrow.
Ooh.
Tell me which one means more for the franchise. I'm totally serious here.
If Mason has a great day tomorrow.
I mean, because now you have a guy who's here, okay? And you have somebody who can really play football. Now, yeah, he's going to be a free agent. He can, he can pick where he wants to go.
He will.
But I don't think you're going to see Omar, who was the guy who called Mason, Omar Khan, he was the one who called Mason last summer and said, "Listen, man, I still believe in you. Here, just come back."
Yeah. He did. And the fact that you have that in-house already, DK, I don't know if I cut you off right there, but the fact that you have it in-house, again, you don't have to pick up Kenny's fifth-year option if Mason does do well again. And
you also don't have to get rid of Kenny.
You don't have to get rid of him either. You still have to give him his 4 years, the same way you did with Devin Bush, Artie Burns, and everybody else that did not get their fifth-year option picked up. They're going to get the 4 years in. And there's also insurance. Maybe Kenny grows a little bit more. Maybe it's a bit premature in us thinking that he was going to be, ready to start as a day one guy or within 8 years. I mean, eight games of his rookie season. The same way that we're watching Mason grow. I think you'd rather it be the same way for Kenny too, if Kenny can catch on. It's just that now it's hard, DK, to not make a case for Mason Rudolph if he goes out and win well in Baltimore.
I mean, listen, we can all pick on specific little examples here and say, well, okay, Kenny won last year, the season finale in Baltimore, had the great finish there, the wonderful little throw back against his, kind of with his body, like in this direction toward Najee Harris on the left side of the end zone. Really well done.
He did.
But when you start doing it on a consistent basis and you're playing at a higher level, a markedly higher level than anybody else has in your organization for a while, and you're 1-2 in the NFL in those 2 weeks, in order. I mean, what do you don't overthink this. One thing I want to ask you, Moan, as the guy who sat next to Mason in the locker on the South Side for years, Mason, there's a lot of, just within fans, they ask a lot of questions about, do you think Mason would stay? Do you think he would hold some kind of grudge for the fact that he was buried here all this time? What I've heard from Mason, and he has blurted this out even since he's become the starter, is that he really is grateful to Omar Khan for pulling him off the figurative couch last summer. He's grateful to Mike Tomlin. He never separates the two when he mentions them. Wow. I mean, do you think he holding some kind of grudge against the Steelers?
It's chump change as far as the league and quarterbacks concerned with what he's being paid, but he got an opportunity, and that's all people ever ask for is an opportunity. So you brought up the conversation of would he be bitter and go somewhere else, or would he stay? I think the only thing that pulls Mason away is a bigger check. I think that does play a part in his next move because this is going to be his probably last move. Yeah, this will be his last move, right, DK?
Yeah.
But with that being said, I'm with you right there, Chris Davis. It's a good problem to have. It's so good.
Relentless today.
I love it. She's quick with it. She's laughing behind the scenes and we see her. But the thing is, the one thing that can pull Mason out of Pittsburgh is a bigger check. That makes sense to me. The thing that you have to say is this also. The reason Pittsburgh's able to make these moves that they have by signing O-line, by going to get certain guys also is because they're dealing with a rookie quarterback too. So you do have flexibility in the cap right now. Him staying in Pittsburgh, I'll be honest with you, it's somewhat cultish with how we love Pittsburgh. The players, you hear it for the guys that leave outside of that building. If you know you can be a starter in Pittsburgh and Mason probably will if he gets a new deal, you love the fans. The team is usually good when you're winning. Even when you're losing, there's still some good bones about it. Ownership is fair and out of the way. You know the coaches. But here's the things that you brought up, DK, and we probably have to jump into more on the Hey Moan segment is, are you going to stay with Coach Sullivan as far as offensive coordinator?
That's another one.
Are you going to do that to two-man tandem? What is your O-line going to be like? Are we believing that Dan Moore is the guy, or do we move him over to right? Is Broderick going back over to left? Only reason I bring that up is there was a top 10 tackle from my school, Tennessee, that was a left tackle, but Chicago left him at right tackle this entire year. So to say that a high first rounder can't play right tackle, even while being a left tackle in college, do you mess that up, DK? I think with an entire offseason, if Dan Moore get over that hurdle of saying he can't play right, then you move Broderick over to left. Like those things have to be figured out too. And just what are you gonna?
That's a big one.
That is a big one.
Yeah.
But everything else is still in place, though, right? Deontay's got another year. Even Chooks has another year under his deal. You don't have to get rid of him.
That's true.
I'm saying, as far as security, you can upload his contract and go sign another toy somewhere else, like a linebacker or something like that, right?
Positions of need.
Positions of need. But as far as the offense is concerned, you're set. I know a lot of people want a upgrade at center. Mason Cole's been getting it as of late. There's two Masons in Pittsburgh. One you hate, and the other one y'all are questioning so much, right? I mean, one you hate, the other one you love. With that being said, DK, Mason, I can see him staying. And I'll say this too before people say, well, what about Kenny? I doubt Coach Tomlin and Omar care about a player's feelings if winning is what determines how they keep their job too.
There's so many issues. And honestly, this is kind of what I was referring to. I find most of this to be way more compelling than anything that happens this weekend. I'm sorry. Because, look, I mean, if we're being honest here, this team's not winning any Super Bowl or whatever, okay? So what you're looking at here is a situation where they could have themselves a nice, a nice finish here. And if a couple of things go their way, or one other thing, I guess, is the way it works. At least one other thing goes the other way. They can have themselves a celebration and say, hey, well done. Mm-hmm. But, does that matter as much as Mason Rudolph balling out tomorrow?
That's the only thing that matters to me. Although I will say this, if he does ball out, we've caught stride at the end of the season 1 and 2 times. The team personally is going to want more. You're not going to want the season to end, especially if you go into Baltimore and beat them there.
Oh, okay. That's a great – I hadn't thought of that, but yeah.
Seriously.
Sure.
To that point.
Right. If he does it tomorrow, you'd definitely want to see more. Yeah, no, that's a great way to amend this. Yeah.
That's great right there, DK. So I'm hoping for the best when it comes down to Mason tomorrow, not just for him, but like seriously for the team. If we can, and one of my producer on my show here in Nashville, big time Baltimore fan, he's actually going to the game. And he said, y'all can't sweep us this year. He was like, I don't care who we got playing. I ain't trying to hear you on Monday. You are not sweeping us this year. So it does mean something to them, like a clean sweep of Cincinnati and Baltimore. DK, that's a successful season.
Yeah, that's definitely something. Hey guys, it is Rapid Fire Friday here. That means we're going to start taking a lot of your questions. We're going to do quick questions, quick answers. Going to keep them rapid fire before I hit the road for Baltimore. Although I understand these roads are not going to be all that friendly tonight and tomorrow, and for that matter, the weather in Baltimore for the game this weekend is not looking all that great. Like really bad, actually.
Okay, well, man,
sleet and rain and frozen field, and
I would fly, DK. You should fly, and you should also stay downtown
to Baltimore.
Yeah,
I'm driving to Frederick, Maryland. Actually, is where I'm going.
You're a whole lot more bold than I am, DK. There's no driving in the snow for this old pup.
Frederick, Maryland has a 24-hour Starbucks. It's outside my hotel window.
The green god has got you locked in.
It is so true.
She got you locked in, DK. There's nothing
so
you can do about that.
True. When we come back, the only segment that actually matters.
And that's Hey Mon. Let's do it right, y'all.
At DK Pittsburgh Sports, we take pride in coverage that connects our city's fans to their favorite teams. Now, that connection's stronger than ever. Introducing our all-new state-of-the-art app. Find expert inside reporting and original podcasts. Check live box scores. Track the latest stats. Chat it up with our community of thousands of fans, all in one place. The new app from DK Pittsburgh Sports. Coverage that connects.
Yeah, we're ready for Rapid Fire Friday. So how that works is ask a specific question. Don't say something like, what do you think of Mike Tomlin's, 17-year tenure? You know what I mean?
Or no clickbaity stuff too.
Yeah, definitely none of that. We've had it. We covered the clickbaity stuff earlier in the week. Steelers Nation for Life generously offering me a place to stay tonight. Look at that.
That's awesome right there, DK.
Yeah. So
I got a couple good ones to start us off, DK. We're going to do it right, man. You ready for it?
Yeah. Go ahead.
DK and his Starbucks. Here we go. This one was pretty hilarious just because this is where everybody is with the new toy. Cut Mitch as soon as the season is over. I saw that one. That one's hilarious. But the one behind that one is this. I get why Moan always spoke glowingly about Mason Rudolph. What's not to like about the guy? I thought that was unique. The fact that you get an opportunity when guys get their fair opportunities again, this is the second time for Mason, to see what that moxie is about. Again, you knew Mason could play ball. They had a first-round grade on him for particular reasons, right? And it takes time sometimes. I had the same conversation with my brother about 2 days ago. We were speaking about, kids and recruiting. Like, parents get ahead of themselves sometime with their kids. Oh, my kid's the next, big arm. My kid's the next quarterback. My kid's the next. And sometimes you got to pull yourself back and just say, give it time, let it breathe. And we see what, Mason's being like a fine wine right now, man. It'd be cool to see him glow some more. So, yeah, I always spoke highly about my dude, and I'm very happy for him also.
Little bit of coin says, another 200 yards on the ground, do you think, Moan?
If it's going to be nasty and filthy outside as far as weather, I expect him to be run heavy. But I also say this too. Mason know how to throw the ball in those type of situations, I'd expect. They'll keep it tight, keep it close, probably use Pat Frymuth or Deontay over the middle type stuff or the comebacks. Short game, but 200 yards against Baltimore, no. I'm going no right now.
Geographic Third says, for DK and Moan, if Mason balls out tomorrow, do you do everything that you can to make him the QB1 for the start of next year over Kenny?
What's going to happen is we're going to hit OTAs, mini camp, and go into camp, and Coach T is going to say it's a quarterback competition.
That's it.
That's what it's going to be. And if Mason can do this again, he's the guy and probably would be the slight front runner is the way I would look at it.
As I see it, one of the things that people need to remember when they get everybody's going to offer Mason $1 zillion and everything else here is they're seeing the same game count that everybody else is. Yeah. And if Mason looks here at the Pittsburgh situation and sees that he just right now, beat Kenny Pickett out, and he did. Kenny is benched this weekend. Why couldn't he do it again? Yeah. Especially when he was that much better. That's different.
And this time around, he'll be getting 1 reps in camp and OTAs and stuff. So that also looks a little bit different too, DK.
This is so good for you. Hey, Moan, can the Steelers please get their cleats right for the first quarter? You know what he's talking about. Every time they play a game in some bad conditions, you see the players changing their cleats during the first half or at the intermission. Moan, why?
Because guys think they're invincible and guys love what they're comfortable with too. If these are my trusty dusties right here, I'm going to roll with them until I know I can't use them no more. And when I do, I'm going to switch it up. But guys and cleats in their feet, we're very particular about it. Like I couldn't wear molds. I just could not. I tried them, wore them in a couple of games. I had to always wear like cleats, studs. Like I could never. And DeCastro, He couldn't wear cleats. He would just wear rubber studs, man. And as far as the wide receivers, I know that's the question. You always think your original equipment is what's going to work. That's just what it is. And it's never as bad as you think it is until it is.
That's Bayad says, plain and simple, is Mason quarterback 1 in 2024? Is he that right now?
With the questions, I think that honestly is a little bit down the rung to me. Just know you got good options, okay? Again, middle linebacker, another corner. Give me what are we doing with OC and 1 or 2 other. Are we moving Broderick Jones over to the left? I think those are far more important decisions to be made. That's bad yet.
That was kind of what I was trying to say earlier and didn't say it as well as I wanted to with Mason being QB1. I don't believe that any of the 32 NFL teams, and I say this with immense respect for what Mason's done these last couple of weeks, would say to Mason, hey, you're our quarterback 1 entering 2024. Do you follow me? Right. They would say to him, you have a chance to come in, whatever. So I don't think the opportunity is going to be much different between Pittsburgh and everywhere else. You might be right, Moan, where it's just got to be a situation where Mason and Omar sit down and,
Hash it out. I think
hash the whole thing out, including what am I just going to get blindly buried here again?
I mean, exactly. But a lot can be determined and understood, DK, by the numbers. You know that. By the numbers, a lot can be understood. The same way that Jordan Love got a bump in his pay this past year. I think it's like $21 million or something like that, just because he's now the named starter. If we see a bump in numbers as far as Mason, if he get mid-teens, you don't pay the mid-teens quarterback, meaning like $15 million a year to be a backup. He's a in-between guy that's got to go prove himself.
Katie says, Mason seems like the adult in the room, just super smart and happy to be in the position to be our offensive leader. I'm sure you've seen all sides, right, Moan?
I have seen all sides, but Mason's always been very professional about him. Probably too professional, if I can be honest with you. The pressing to be great. Go ahead.
No. I'm just agreeing. That's all. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, he's always been this. Again, it's opportunity in the right place, the right system, the right guys. Like, there's so much to go into it. Like, again, people absolutely hate system quarterback. System quarterback. People hate that term, but that matters a lot. It really does. But yeah, I think he's going to be fine.
It's funny that the most effusive praise that Mike Tomlin has given to Mason Rudolph, and he's been really careful with it. It's all been nice job. Okay. Well, in fact, the one thing that Tomlin has cited as a real specific has been no turnovers. That there's been no fumble, there's been no interceptions. He's only been sacked twice, and that is a team stat, as we always like to say. It's not just when I know. When it's the offensive line,
yeah,
we'll give the credit to the offensive line for something like that. But the quarterback can also help avoid sacks.
Just look at that last play, the one from Seattle, where there's a guard around him, center's holding good enough anchor, pushing him to the side, and legitimately Mason was between a rock and a hard place and stayed in his lane and delivered the ball to Dejan. That could have easily been a sack, right, DK? Like, how many times you see a quarterback in today's game have all of that pressure around him and do this?
Yeah, right.
They shrink. And he did. I think it's helped settle those dudes. I do. The O-line, D-line thing. DK, you said time and time again, all of these last 2 weeks, what have big boys up front been saying as far as his play and what he's done for them?
Oh, he's stood still.
Us.
Yeah, he's been decisive. That's the part. The decisive thing gets mentioned more than him holding his pocket.
Yep.
Okay? There's a play to be executed. Go ahead and execute it. Luke says, hey, Moan, who's your pick on the offensive line to have the biggest game tomorrow?
Isaac Samala.
Really?
Because the physicality is his game. He don't say much from what I see, but when it's time to get busy, as far as pulling, as far as being aggressive, he does that well. I think it's a big headache for the tackles because Baltimore always got some really good rushers. Isaac's my guy of those middle three guys, and I'm saying to myself, yeah, I can count on him going to go get it tomorrow against Baltimore.
Francesco says, hey, Moan, would the Steelers consider, or should they consider, a quarterback in a somewhat early in the coming draft? Would you, or does this whole thing with Mason kind of, take some of that off? Based only on what we know right now.
Shoot hard for Mason. Again, I don't want to pick a quarterback when there's so many other needs. Linebacker, corner, maybe
defensive
a backup
line.
D-line. Cam also had conversation this week about the business and his age and stuff. So right now the quarterback position to me is such a luxury that there's no need to go get one. And by early, I hope you mean by third, fourth round. I don't want one then. Why?
This is when somebody tells me where a Starbucks is. Like, do you think they don't? I walk into the Starbucks in Breezewood and they go, "Hey, it's you." Okay, I mean, this actually happened. True story. I have to share this with you. This was a few years ago in St. Louis. I was there covering baseball, and I had been there a few months earlier, but I was there every day. Okay, we come back, and I'm walking into the same Starbucks with a colleague, and the barista who's at the register goes, "Hey," like that. The dude who's with me goes, "What?" It looked way funnier than it actually probably was. Like, really?
Again.
Really?
Watch.
St. Louis?
I got him this time, Dolly. Him and the Green Goddess. Nope. That's good stuff right there, DK. Absolutely love that.
Jeez, they're trying the ones in Baltimore. I know where they all are.
Yeah, you use your app appropriately.
Nova Racer says, "Hey Moan, do you think Omar Khan has called and congratulated him?" I presume Nova's referring to Mason Rudolph.
Mason.
He doesn't have to call. He's there.
He's there. Most times after wins, Kev Colbert and Mr. Rooney and other ownership also walk through the locker room, shake everybody's hand. Oh, you're in your towel getting out of the shower? I'll wait till you cover up. Shake everybody's hand. You taking your tape off? Shake everybody's hand. So, yeah, I'm more than sure Omar gave him a hard dap this week, man, and last week too. Again, we made a big fuss always about West Coast wins and losses. He went to Seattle and got a dub. I think Omar probably snickers a little bit. Omar was a guy that was behind Kev that always communicated with us, the players, more. So he probably has a little bit of a better relationship with Mason and with everybody else in the room because that's his personality and stuff. Omar gets it. Again, Pittsburgh, I would say, DK, you let me know if you've heard other. Pittsburgh has a very smart football IQ building. I know they miss here or there, but everybody inside that building knows ball. Like, it's nobody that's just pushing papers. Omar, even though he was the
lifers,
he was the money man. You remember the term for Omar, the money guy. Omar knows ball. He know how to scout. So yeah, I'm more than sure he went up to Mason and hit him with a little pound.
Oh yeah, what he's not doing though this year. And I swear to God, I hadn't thought of it actively until you just brought it up, is Omar's not – I know what you're talking about, going around the room.
Yeah.
And yeah, Kevin would do it. If Omar does it, he does it out of sight of reporters. I haven't seen him do it, okay? I do see our Rooney going around. Makes his way around a little bit more slowly.
Yeah.
But he gets around to every single player. Go ahead.
No, you want to hear what's funny about that? Not doing it in front of public. Kev Colbert is so freaking funny. This is a quick story, real quick. Kevin is so funny, okay? He's a sports guy, too. We be in Baltimore, Cincinnati. We'll be at home against mostly divisional games or Kansas City and stuff. And towards the end of the game, when we got it close, Kev comes down from the suite and watches the game. And if y'all could have seen him on the sideline, just you go like he is all in on all of that little type of stuff. Or when we go to Baltimore and we're a good team and it's hostile there, he wouldn't go up to like the owner's suite and stuff like that. He stay on the field the entire time. Good or bad plays, he's reacting to it, man. Like Kev, we had a dude in Kev, man, and I'm sure that's being carried along the same. So I loved seeing him on the sideline because I knew that meant a big game, and he wanted to see us bash people.
Terrific question here from Adam. Says, "Hey, Moan, do teams build offensive lines differently for pocket passers or mobile quarterbacks like Lamar Jackson?"
No, you just adjust to the quarterback style. If you think a guy's a good offensive lineman, you go get that good offensive lineman.
That's not the answer I thought you were going to give. Okay.
I think some teams, depending on what style of offense they're running, they'll go get a smaller dude that's more mobile. Like AFC North, look at our line. They're bigger body dudes. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You go to other division, the smaller guys that get into space and stuff like that. So no, the O-line always adjusts to the quarterback. That's why hearing them say what Mason's done, right? Stand in the pocket, you can adjust to that. You can't adjust to a guy who's erratic. You look at Baltimore's O-line, they move around a whole lot with Lamar. You do see them do that. But here's another thing you also see, too. Their left tackle always gets rolled up. So much movement, bodies all around them, or Lamar's just floating around.
Rolled up. That's what I thought you meant. I wasn't sure if you meant it in the bad way. Yeah, that's because they're not as much in control of their surroundings, are they?
Yeah, no. The O-line always adjusts to either the running back or the quarterback. Now, the style of offense a team runs, you go get an offensive line specific for that, though.
Rico comes in with a $20 contribution. Anytime that those are up on the screen, please assume that we are offering our thanks.
Always.
We're not going to interrupt the show with every last one of them, but know that every bit of support for this show is always appreciated in all forms, whether that's a like or a subscribe or getting a membership, or just like this, like Rico just says, here's $20. I don't have anything to say. Rico often does have.
Appreciate you, Rico.
Rico often does have something to say here. Nova says, hey, Moan, does Omar's like for Mason have any input on what happens with Mason?
Omar likes most of the players. I'm going to be honest with you. If you've been in that building, Omar knows your family, knows you, and he likes you. But that ain't saying that, hey, this is cheerleader type stuff. This is just, hey, he's one of us. And I've seen Omar and Kev and others take care of guys who are us in those moments. Again, Mason's a quarterback. That's going to be a hot position this year. Washington may need one. Heck, Denver may need one. Like, there's a lot of people. That's a hot commodity if Mason can go do his thing. So he'll look out for him. But, of course, business is business.
Luke wants to know if Elandon Roberts is playing tomorrow. The answer to that, according to Elandon Roberts, is yes. Officially, he's listed as questionable, as are both Minkah Fitzpatrick and Trenton Thompson. I expect all of them to play. Yeah. This is one of those games, isn't it, Moan? Where
it is.
If what percentage did you say you were, dude? What percentage? Okay. How many games do we have left? Okay.
You best.
Am I right?
Yeah, 100%. This is the game you play in, DK. I got another good one from Jonathan Cafardi. This is real good. Hey, Mo, he said realistically, like we never real with him, okay, DK? We're always real with our
what's that all about? No preface needed.
More respect next time, okay, Jonathan? Yeah. But he goes, hey, Mo, realistically, if Kenny can calm himself down in the pocket and slow his heartbeat down against the blitz, can he be an above-the-line quarterback? Is he capable of making his progressions? That's fair because I don't want to necessarily bury Kenny. But here's the thing that Kenny gets buried with, Jonathan. DK said it, and we've all watched this around the league too. You made a great point, DK. We have never yet once seen a game like Mason has done this year from Kenny, from CJ Stroud, from a young Patrick Mahomes, from even Deshaun Watson. Even Baker Mayfield had those types of games. Kenny has yet, with the same outfit offensively.
Not once.
Not one. And DK was the first one to say that one out loud. So when we're talking about can he, Jonathan, I don't know if he's capable. But we ain't ever seen, even Will Levis here in Nashville has been somewhat deemed a soft.
But here's the deal.
A soft franchise guy is what I'm saying. Go ahead.
When you came up to see us and the Titans were here, and I was struck with a week-long case of Will Levis envy. And I was. Okay? Yeah. I'm not proud of it, but I was.
That's fair.
I looked at the throws that he was making. I look at the way he was commanding the pocket. I don't see him every week. For all I know, that was one good week. Okay?
He's had a few.
But I see those things, and I say, I don't know how the Steelers take the next step without one of those. Okay? So when who was it that just asked you now about
Jonathan
being above the line? Jonathan. So Jonathan said above the line. My literal mind went to throwing above the line. Think about this for a second. The play that Mason made that everybody's been talking about all week, where the pocket's collapsing on him and he finds George, and George does the super dramatic somersault and whatever. Okay. Yeah. All right. So Mason is standing there, but he's 6'5" to Kenny's. I don't know. He's listed as 6'3". I think he's closer to 6'2". Yeah. Mason's 6'5". Mason's seeing everything that's happening. And he's standing upright, even as you might recall, the rush situation in front of him was mostly upright. It wasn't guys down in the trenches or whatever. It was a bunch of stand-up bodies around him. He's still seeing over them. These are not things that go into streaks and slumps. This is just a physical reality.
It is, man.
Look how Joe got it. Even as I was talking, look how Joe got it.
Mason 6'5".
I mean, he just put that up. That's it. Mason is 6'5".
Yeah.
And maybe that helps with his durability as well. I don't, over the course of time.
Yeah.
This is Chad says, look at Chad. Chad says, hey, Moan. Oh, no, wait. It was that wasn't it right here. I actually want to find this. It was really good. Yeah, right here from Adam. He says, I have watched that play multiple times, and I swear I lose track of Mason. That's the funny part. Okay,
Here,
I'll shut up after this on this play.
No, go ahead. Take off, DK. You got it.
Okay, but like where the press box was in Seattle, the line between where Mason was and the offense was, and George Pickens was running right my way, like right this way. So I'm looking at the whole thing in a straight line.
Yeah.
I don't see the quarterback. That's how engulfed he was. What I see is a completely impossible play. Next thing, it looks like a ball gets shot out of a launcher, like a Nerf launcher or something.
Like on American Gladiators. Yeah.
Right? And then the ball is coming your way. And the next thought I have is, okay, this also is impossible because George has to do a Willie Mays.
Yeah, he did.
And then catch it. And then, oh, by the way, somersault. And then tell me after the game when I asked him about it, he goes, I do that all the time.
So
I do that all the time.
But you know what that's also
that
doing?
Catch? That's what. Here, hang on. This is exactly how he did it. He went, that catch? I do that all the time. That was the end of the answer.
But you know what, though, DK, to this same point on Jonathan's question is this. He's also building confidence in those wide receivers. He's putting the ball where they know where George Pickens can say, oh, I do that all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like to throw a bomb and it drops right in this basket is cool. But to tell me, and this is the one thing to George's diva-ness that we've seen, this is the one thing that he has been right about. Just give me the damn ball. And Mason is doing that.
Put it by general direction. Mm-hmm.
And Mason is staying in the pocket to the O-line's point and doing that. When George gets the ball, was it quickly out, right? He comes back. But like he's throwing them open to places that he's letting his athletic ability take over. Now I hate to make a case for Kenny like that, but I mean for Mason like that. But we got to go what's in front of us, right?
Mic drop. I'm going to take some gentle issue with this point that you're making here. You say you can't coach poise in the pocket. You either have it or you don't. Mason got it now. Well, you're kind of contradicting yourself, and you're making the correct point at the end. You say Mason got it now. Mason did not have it before. Moan, you can speak to that. You were out there on the field with him.
I think, and I would say this, and if to be fair, I think Mason was trying to overprove himself to Ben comparatively. I'll say that comparatively, like watching him say, I can do this too. Instead of y'all just blinders on playing your game. I think Mason developed that by being number 3 on this squad, not being signed till later in the summer, and also now having to eat it as far as being being the scout team quarterback. A lot of that goes into, well, hey, I need to be real with myself. It's just, I'll be honest with you, Mason's had enough time to realize that. A lot of dudes don't get that opportunity to what you got to almost say to yourself again. Shout out to Omar for going to get a number 3 quarterback, a guy that he knows, a guy that may actually turn into what him and Kev evaluated originally. I mean, Mason, you still there? Come on, man. Let's see if we can still figure this thing out. Because, again, Coach Tomlin didn't necessarily go to him first. He went to Mitch first. Mason was around long enough to get this shot. Almost, not exactly, but Kurt Warner-ish, right? Stay around long enough to where you're giving that grace, be a good enough teammate, good enough environment, and also this too, be a very quiet backup quarterback. Nobody ever wants to hear the backup quarterback. So while we were all doing this Mitch and Kenny thing, Mason just
didn't hear
back.
A word. Didn't hear a word. No, not once. Joel Schmidt says, remember that Ben had happy feet too. Ben's happy feet were different because Ben could have people, he would just have people fall off of him. So he could do whatever he want with his feet, and it didn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Early Ben. Double that for early Ben, like rookie Ben, second year Ben. They were just sliding off of him. Ray Lewis once described trying to tackle Ben. He said it's not his size. He said it was his slipperiness. You would just kind of just like ooze off of him.
Wow. Yeah, I can see that be the case. He also played in a different era too, where the quarterback wasn't protected as much. So he just played the game that was given to him. Man, we
The
just
only
hit 1,000
protection-
live, DK.
Oh, we did? Oh, look at
Yeah.
that. You're always watching that. I never see that number.
Man, what's up?
But it's up there, yeah.
It is.
Yeah, see, Pittsburgh Toddy says, I hear a lot of this, by the way, from people that Mason looks like Sidney Crosby. And as someone who's been around Sidney Crosby for his entire career, he actually doesn't. Okay.
I see.
Maybe there's certain photographs or whatever, but
Yeah.
this nails it. Toddy says, I think Mason looks more like Clark Kent than Superman, not to rain on his parade. If you go back to the original and iconic Christopher Reeve from the original Superman films, that's Mason. That's what Mason looks like in person. He has a very Christopher Reeve look to him.
I can see that.
Yeah?
See that for sure. Yeah. I'll just call him Don Draper. He's always just Don Draper to me from Mad Men.
Oh, Don Draper's good call.
He's Don Draper to me, always.
I like it.
Yeah, I used to call him that, Don Draper, man. We used to discuss that show so much. Me, Al, Pounce, Dave. Oh, my God. Mad Men?
Because they would throw stuff in that would just do that to you. They would throw specific stuff into that show. It was the last show my wife and I really, really binged out on. Back when I had a life. and it was so deep on so many levels. But I'm also convinced that they would throw stuff in that had nothing to do with anything just to kind of get you off the scent.
Yeah. You want to know one of my most favorite things, and you've heard me say this all the time, when it comes down to doing your job or you hate something, that's what the money's for. Like if Kenny got to be a backup next year, that's what the money's for. You know what I'm saying? Like blocking your man. Oh, you got a trench monster coming into town this week. That's what the money. I love that saying because it really embodied everything that you do. Like, what you complaining for? Just do it.
They had so many of those. What an absolutely wonderful show.
I'll watch it again. You keep talking about it in the off season.
She actually mentioned she was asking last night about like what kind of shows that we can go back to, like, because they put 6 Feet Under back on now. 6 Feet Under was one of those classic binge shows. But I know how it ends, and it's just not the same,
Succession. Have you seen it?
My brother keeps trying to shove it down my throat.
I'm
Is
right
it really?
there. Where's my shovel at? Yeah. Where's my shovel? You should watch that.
All right, I can do that as well.
Look at that. You
Someday.
get podcasts and show recommendations and everything on this show.
That's right. Oh, Rainbow comes in with the obligatory Christopher Reeve playing like Superman reference here. Stop the Russell Wilson stuff before it even gets started.
Please.
Mason is, in fact, the answer. I am there. I don't know that the Steelers are. I don't know how much more it'll take to show them that. Freddie Mercury? Nah.
Oh,
you got Freddie Mercury here?
I can see Freddie. The chin, maybe, but not so much. I can't see it as much.
Yeah. No, I'm going to give a pass to the Freddie Mercury thing. Stephanie wants to know if we can talk about the awful officiating crew for tomorrow.
I don't think they're going to be awful tomorrow.
Why
I
is
think
that?
they know, because I'll say this. I think
All
they're going
eyes.
to be regulators. They're making sure the game don't get out of whack. But all in all, they can't be. They cannot be bad tomorrow after they made national news as far as sports go in that Detroit Lions game.
Yeah.
Cannot be bad tomorrow.
Yeah, the last thing that you can ever exhibit as an official, not to dredge all that up, but the last thing that you can ever exhibit is a failure to understand the rules of the game.
Yeah.
That is a dark, dark place to be as a referee or umpire. It really is. Any sport. Mike Rosenthal gets our last question of the day. Hey, Moan, here, look, he did it again. Please, somebody else did this again. Honest opinion. Which opinions are we given that are lies? Honest opinion, does this team make some big hires outside of the organization?
That's such a
that'll happen.
Great question. Because, again, as much as we're talking about Mason, right, and the idea of him being this franchise quarterback going forward into next year, who's calling the plays? Mike Sullivan's calling the plays. Do you? But that's the issues that a lot of people have had. Not me in particular, because I get it. But do we hire outside counsel?
and change everything up. And if Mason Rudolph is, either your guy or one of your guys, and one of Mason's big advantages on everybody else in the fold is that he's been around the system as long as anybody or longer than anybody, then why would you say, let's just blow it all up?
Do you trust Mike Sullivan and Coach Faulkner? You know?
That's why I keep focusing on the offense for tomorrow. Like, the outcome to me doesn't matter nearly as much as can the offense do what it's done, against a better defense. And I know Baltimore is not going to be,
at full strength
or even full motivation or any of that stuff. Those guys are mindful, aren't they, Moan? Because you played in meaningless games.
They are.
Where you're aware of, listen, what I really, really need to do is to get through this game and be ready for the playoffs.
That's exactly where they are. They're
is
right
that where
there.
you were?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
You try to do enough to where you can choke them out to where they don't want to play anymore. And this Pittsburgh doesn't have that type of team to where they're going to be able to choke them out and make them submit. So we'll see a good Baltimore defense, I think. Does it matter a lot to them? Not as much, but you can't just play around with football. You'll get hurt. So they're going to go hard. It's going to be intentional tomorrow in Baltimore. But how do we judge it? Because if Mason gets 320 yards, 2 tutties, and they get one on the ground, DK, with Coach Sullivan and Coach Faulkner as your co-offensive coordinators, do you implode it? I'll be honest with you, because people like for us to be honest in our opinion. I would like to think that an outside dude would just take this group and run with it. But in my personal opinion, we did that with Matt Canada.
Yeah. I think what you have to do, and I keep giving this as almost a coverall answer, is there just has to be a thorough and unprecedented review of everything. And that includes, by the way, however it is that Mike Sullivan and Eddie Faulkner will have performed, both with Kenny at quarterback, although that was only one game, the Cincinnati game, which went quite well. The games with Mitch Trubisky, which did not go well. How much of that was the coordinators? Did the coordinators suddenly become brilliant because the quarterback play did? These are things that you can't just say, here's the outcome and here's what we think. It has to be a way deeper dive than that stuff that fans, reporters, nobody can get into, maybe not even the players,
Hey, and DK, here's another thing too, when we're discussing what next year is going to be as far as quarterbacking, as far as OC and stuff like that too. The one thing we hadn't brought up enough is Kenny's ability to stay on the field.
It hasn't come up, and especially since some of it might be, again, depending on how you analyze this, when you do your deep dive, might be self-inflicted. When you're constantly cutting out to the left and the other teams know that, don't tell me they don't spend at least part of their week scheming for, hey, I'm going to flush him out to the left. You get him.
Yeah.
Am I right?
I 100. Eventually, he's going to go there. He's going even if he goes right, he's going to go left more. Just wait on him. It's like fishing. We'll just wait on him.
He's going to come in that direction. That's the kind of thing that you've seen the Steelers do against Lamar Jackson for years. They know where to flush him out, and they know who to have waiting there for him. That's been part of that. Was the thing that the plan of theirs that Mike Vrabel stole a couple of years ago. Remember in the playoff game?
Yeah,
he said, let's see what the Steelers do, since they seem to have this answer. Oh, cool, let's do that. And then they go into Baltimore and do it and win a playoff game for the Titans.
They did a big one too, by the way. And that sent them on a run. But Kenny's health is always in question. He's always out. He is.
That's a problem. And this was the year that he came in bigger and stronger. Remember all that other stuff? And
we checked every box, right?
Yeah.
And still ended up missing games, not because of a benching, but because of injury.
Yeah, because of getting banged around, right? Last one today. Hammerbake says, bleeding black and gold behind enemy lines. Be at the game tomorrow. First thing. Oh, this is just nice. First thing I listen to every morning when I wake up and get ready for work. Thank you. That's really, really nice.
That is. That's awesome right there.
when we come back, Master of Music has a question for you, Moan. And then
Let's do it.
We're gonna take care of one other point of business here. As soon as I can find a way to take there we go. I'm new here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here I'm looking at where did this go now?
You got it?
I think so. It was right here from Master of Music. Oh, yeah, it's Friday. Score prediction.
Score prediction. We've had 30-point average the last 2 weeks with Mason Rudolph. Mason Rudolph is slated to play and start this weekend in Baltimore. Raisins. Score prediction. Thinking it through. Momentum is a hell of a thing, DK. Give me 26 with a backup quarterback in Baltimore. 26-13. Steelers.
Oh, look at you picking the sweep.
I'm gonna
By the
go
way,
over and
that
beyond.
happens if the Steelers beat the Ravens. Do you know that they'll finish the season 5-1 in the AFC North? Do you believe that?
Does that put us second in the North?
No,
because it's 5-1. Where's Cleveland in that
Oh,
conversation?
they're way up there.
Really? Because overall record?
Yeah. But for the Steelers being 5-1 in the North is still pretty neat. And the only loss will, of course, have come to the Browns.
Man, hold up. This history of this game though is always 3 points. Am I that cocky?
You need to do this again.
Yeah, let me redo that.
It's 3 points. It's 3 points when Baltimore comes here with half a roster and the rest had COVID. Remember?
I do remember that.
It's still 3 points.
What game too? 17-14. Take it down a notch too.
17-14 says Moan. I like this one a lot better.
Yeah, 17-14. 3 points. I can't go against history. But if they get 30, oh my gosh, if they get 30, DK, I'm buying a Mason Rudolph jersey myself. I'm calling them. I'm having them sign it.
he might bring it to you.
If he's signed, I'm telling you, golly.
Oh man! All right, Moan. Well, we're gonna have Rico's got a message for us up here. We're gonna leave it up there while you share a message of your own.
Oh man, yes, it's Friday. Good people, make it back to us on Monday, okay? Have a random conversation. Tell somebody I love you. Apologize to somebody. Buy somebody a random drink or Starbucks for that matter, okay?
The card will do.
Yeah, a card will do also. But man, cheer on the boys this weekend, and here we go.
I never interfere with Moan's Friday speech. I want to throw in one extra one because I'm going to be doing it myself. Drive carefully.
Please.
It is, I say this a lot to the athletes that I cover, and Ramon's heard me say it in the Steelers locker room. It's the single most dangerous thing that any of us does. Your trip that you're making from the stadium to your home with your family in your car, that's how the players travel home, NFL players, is the single most dangerous thing you're going to do that day, even more dangerous than playing in an NFL game. Be smart about it. There's no hurry. Don't be passing people, sit in the right lane.
Or getting mad. Yeah, road rage only lasts about 2-3 minutes, and you can make a crazy mistake in 2-3 minutes.
That is never worth it.
I've seen this come up numerous times. Nova Racer puts up, Moan, get them Titans ready. There's implication if the Titans beat Jaguars too. Ooh, wow. I'll be on the sideline frigid this weekend, so that'll be interesting. That group needs a dub bad too.
That's right. All right, guys. We'll see everybody on Monday for sure.
Peace.
Mm-hmm.